Thank you so much. Good
Thank
to
you.
see you, Vicky. Okay, thank you.
Okay, you guys, talk about trial by fire. Holy, holy, holy. How fast can you think on your feet when you're getting visible? Wow. Okay, I just need to get my chat up here so that I can see you. So just bear with me so that I can see what people are saying in the chat. Thank you for your patience. Nobody ever accused me of being a tech wizard, that's for sure. Okay, dokie. So here we go. So I would love for you to remember, and I will look at you just a second. I'm just getting my notes up here. I would love for you to remember when you're holding yourself back, or when you find yourself holding yourself back, that you are someone's Oprah. Someone is looking at you and thinking, my God, look at all of the things that she gets done. How does she show up like that? How can he be in front of the camera like that? And appreciating your guidance and appreciating what you're doing in your content. So always just have that in the back of your mind. You are someone's Oprah, and more people are watching than you think. This is a massive thing. We're going to talk about more than social media, but this is a massive thing. More people are watching you than you think. So I can't tell you the number of times that people will send me a message and they'll say something like, I've been watching your content for the last 6 months, or I've been watching your stories, or whatever it is. And they have never once engaged with me on anything. And I'm like, wow, where did you come from? So people are always watching what we're doing because they trust us, and they want a hero. They want somebody to be out in front. They want somebody to be being visible for them. Okay. So that's your little, I'll get up off my soapbox. It's your little pep talk on that. The first thing that you want to do is you want to know what stage of awareness your people are at. This is really, really important. And this is a mistake that I see us making in the human design space a lot. And I've been guilty of it too. Okay. Nobody gets a pass on this one, is that we need to know what stage of awareness our audience is in, because chances are you are surrounded by human design informed people. Pop a yes in the chat if you follow more than 3 human design accounts online. If you're watching more than 3 human design accounts online, you see tons and tons and tons of human design information. You're in the Bodygraph chart group. You're talking to human design people all the time. You may be in other masterminds or other programs. You're talking to human design people all the time. Look at all of the yeses in the chat. So we think that everyone knows what we know about human design. And we talk in human design lingo, and people are lost. They're absolutely lost. So you need to know if your person knows anything about human design, if your audience knows anything about human design, or if they're completely new to human design. This is a big thing because we get talking, we create all these carousels and posts and things, and we get talking about circuitry and gates and channels and manifesting generator and projector and reflector, and they're like, what the heck is this? I have no idea. And when they're confused, they just keep scrolling, right? A confused mind doesn't buy. So we want to really know where our people are at. If your people are brand new to human design, so let me know in the chat, did you bring an audience from somewhere else? Were you already doing something else and then you added human design to it? I know the last webinar we had, a manifestation coach and an astrologist, and people who were in different fields. I have a background in holistic health, so I came from that world, and I brought my people with me. I brought human design to them, but I had to start at the very, very, very beginning. Okay. I had to come back to really, really basics. We want to explain things as if we're explaining them to an 8-year-old. So let's say, for instance, that your audience is parents, and they may be dealing with sleep issues. I think all parents of young children are dealing with sleep issues. They may be dealing with hyperactivity issues. They may be dealing with problems in school. A kid can't sit still, any of those things. So you might come along and you might say, well, your child has an undefined throat, so they can't sit still in school because they're always seeking attention. And they have gate 36, so they're always going to be trying to be that evil Knievel. They're going to be trying all of the things and getting into crises and all of these things. Or they have an undefined root, so they have all this pressure in their design to just keep going and going and going. That's not going to land with your people. What could you say instead? Let's do some workshopping in the chat. What could you say instead that would maybe get them? And I'll give you some hints as well. So instead of saying they need to, if they're a generator type, they need to use their sacral energy daily, you might say something like, kids have a lot of energy that gets downloaded into them every single day. I know not all kids. And it's important that they use that energy, or else it ricochets around and it can make them feel like they're kind of crazy and they're going all over the place. I have some tools that can help you. You could say something like, with the sleep issue, let's say it's a sleep issue and you want to tackle it from the non-sacral versus sacral being. You could talk about different bedtime routines based on your child's personality. So you're using really, really regular basic languaging with people who don't know human design. What you want to be doing is introducing human design as a solution, not necessarily look at me, I'm the human design person that's going to save you. It's like, look at human design. This is what's helped me. This is what can help you. This is how I can help you. But do it through the lens of selling them on human design first, or else they're going to be completely lost. Flip that. If you have a human design informed audience, it's really, really different. If your people are further along the way and understand human design, then you are able to talk a little bit more about the nuances of human design if that's your market. But it's really, really, really important to understand what stage of awareness your audience is in. So, do you need to sell them on human design as a solution, or do you need to sell them on you as the human design solution? That helps you to know what you need to create. So you want to think about in your content, no man left behind. And if you listen to my podcast at all, you'll hear me say this sometimes. I'll stop a guest and I'll say, okay, wait 1 second. For our listeners who may not be human design informed, let's break that down for them. What did it happen with Julianne when we were talking about the sacral sounds? Because regular people aren't going to know what sacral sounds are. They're going to think that it makes no sense to them. So just have that voice in your head all the time when you're creating content, no man left behind. So let me know in the chat if you've been asking engaging questions in your feed, if you've been asking engaging questions that are at the right level for your people, if you've been creating content that's at the right level for your people. Let me know in the chat. Take a look at your own feed and see, oh my gosh, am I guilty of this? I'm just going to look through here a little bit. Okay. All right. Yes, somebody's saying yes. Speak as if you're speaking to an 8-year-old, because most people read at a 7th grade level. That's a thing that I learned in my copywriting course. Most people read at a 7th grade level. So we can skip all of the fancy languaging. We want to be clear over clever. I was listening to the CEO of Instagram today as well, and he was talking about how the biggest growth that they're seeing on Instagram is in DMs and in stories. So that's where you want to be, and know those two things you wouldn't typically think of as making you super, super visible, because they're not going out to everyone, right? They're only going out to your people. But the more you share a value with your own people, the more they're either going to share it or want to engage with you, right? So we don't want to be sending people away. He talked about not sending people to link in bio, instead to actually have them DM you or to put things in your stories. I love stories. I don't watch stories, but I love stories because it's a pretty low barrier, a low entry point to creating content that gets you visible, and then it's gone. You don't have to worry about it so much, because it's going to be visible for about 24 hours and then it's gone. And it's only going to your own audience, people who are already following you, people who are already engaged with you, and they opt in if they want to see that or not, right? And then they can get away from your story if they don't want to see it. So that can be a really good place to start to practice and play with visibility if you're on Instagram or Facebook. You don't have to be on Instagram or Facebook, but that's the thing. So another thing to do to really increase your visibility, I'm a big believer in picking one platform. Doesn't matter what it is, but pick one and do it really, really well. I think that no matter what our types, no matter how much energy we have, we can't be in a bazillion places and do it really, really great. So pick one platform, one social media platform, and be all in on it. Social media is the doormat of your business. There are people, yes, who build big, big businesses on social media, but for the most part, it's the doormat of your business. It's going to bring people into the rest of your world. It's going to give you a place where you can get people on your email list. It's going to give you a place where you can get them to download the Bodygraph chart, get them to download a Bodygraph lead magnet. Long game things are more search engine things like Pinterest, YouTube, blog. Your email list isn't searchable, but it definitely is a long-term game, your podcast, things like that. Sometimes let me know in the chat if you love social media or not. I am going to stop and interact with you for a second here because I want to know who loves no. Really honest, really fast there. No. Yes. No. No. Yes. Much harder to use now. Lots and lots of no's, right? It's a tool. Yes, yes, yes. Hate it. Depends on the day. Amen. Second line. Yes. Depends on the day. Yeah. So social media, I think that we have to give it props because it's a free tool that we can use to build our businesses, right? Think how much harder it was to build a business, 15, 20 years ago when we didn't have all these social media platforms. So we have to give it a nod as a free tool to build our business. But we want to have the right energy about it, right? We want to put really good content out there that really cements our 1,000 true fans to us, that has people want to share our stuff, that has people want to come to our feed. We want people coming into our feeds and saying, my goodness, why aren't a million people following this guy? He's so great at explaining this stuff. We want to be there consistently. I have this trick that I use. Feels like I'm posting into the void. Yes, yes, yes. Isn't that so frustrating? But remember, Barbara, that um, there's always more people watching than you think you are. Even when we feel like we're posting into a void, I guarantee you someone is watching you. You are someone's Oprah. So you got to be there. You got to keep showing up. You got to keep being visible. I have a scheduler that I use, and so when my energy is aligned, I'll just batch out a ton of content and I put it into my scheduler and I close my eyes and I say, Mark Zuckerberg works for me. So rather than getting all my knickers in a knot all about the algorithm and what's going to go out there and what's going to be seen and what's not going to be seen, I just say Mark Zuckerberg works for me. And I know that my content is going to get out to the people who need to see my content. And I know that I'm going to draw the right fit clients to me. So we want to be social, right? Why do you go to social media? If you go to social media, I'd love to know why you go there. What do you go to social media to do? You scroll along on Instagram or you go to Facebook or um, TikTok. I'm not a TikTok girl, but some people go there. Writing and connection, inspiration, to see friends and interact with a laugh, humor, to find a coach, see cute animal videos, promote my business, entertainment. I go to be entertained and informed about things I'm interested in. Yes. Other than the person who's looking for a coach, we probably don't go to Instagram or Facebook to learn and grow, she says, to socialize. Yeah, we don't go to these platforms to be sold to. We don't go to get all of the daily news. We don't go to be preached at. We go for entertainment. We want to be social. It's called social media for a reason. Most people on social media are not actually building a business. So they don't really need business content, right? You know what happens when you see those sponsored posts and they look really businessy? You usually don't engage with them. I don't engage with them. I want to see real people. If I'm scrolling through Instagram, I want to see real people. And there's a real um, push towards authenticity now. There's a real dropping of the perfect photos and the perfect posts. So like give yourself a pass. You can show up as you are and you can let people see you as you are. The biggest thing that I think that we can all lean into a little bit more is our human design profile. And if you're here, you may already be doing that, but I teach a content course and I can tell you that most people are not using their profile even this much in their content. So you really want to be showing up as your profile. And this is this is something I think that we shy away from in our human design. Pop your profile into the chat for me if you would. Pop your profile into the chat. So let's say that you are a 3-5 profile. You best be telling people about the mistakes you've made in life. You best be talking about what you learned through your life experience. If you're a 1-3, people want to hear about your research and your mistakes. If you're a 4-6, I worked with a 4-6 a little while ago and she was hiding from her community. She's not going to find her people if she's hiding from them because that is such a big part of who she's here to be. If you're a 5-1, you got to tell people like it is. You got to let people know what you're seeing. 3-5. See, 3-5s are my favorite people. Juliana, when she was on my podcast, she talked about them being unhinged. I have a son and a granddaughter who are 3-5 profiles, and it's just such a cool profile. 5-1, 6-3, 5-1, 5-2. Yes, lots of mix here. 2-4. I'm a 2-4 as well. 3-5, lots of 3-5s. Wow, that's crazy. Yes. 2-4 Mangen, 4-6. Yes. So we really have to stand in our profile, because remember that your profile is the role that you play in the movie of your life. It's who you're here to be. And if you're 4-6 and you're not showing up for your community, and you're not, depending on what phase of that sixth line that you're in, you're not being a role model or integrating your lessons or whatever, you're not going to resonate with your people. If you're a 3-5 and you're hiding behind the shame of having made mistakes, God forbid, if you're a 3-5 Manny Gen and you're afraid to make mistakes, look out. Um, it's just not going to work as well. So really, really, really stand in your profile and consider the voice that your profile would speak in when you're creating your content. Consider what your people want to hear from you, because that's how you're here to move through life. Okay. I keep hitting my mouse instead of this thing. Okay, so another thing that we can do to become more visible is that we can collaborate with others. This is one of the things that we're going to be doing during boot camp. Let me know in the chat if you're registered for boot camp yet. So boot camp is happening. We start on Sunday. I can't believe it's going to be March 3rd on Sunday, but we start on Sunday, and we are doing a Build Your Business boot camp where you're going to integrate the human design chart onto your site. You're going to get a site if you don't have a site yet. You're going to get a lead magnet aside from the human design chart. You're going to grow your business by collaborating with others and getting your stuff out there. It's going to be a really intense, really super fun 5 days, really worthwhile as well. So collaborating with others, this is an excellent way for you to get visible. Other people's podcasts. You can consider guesting on other people's podcasts. And if you are afraid to get visible and ask to be seen on someone else's podcast, just think about, how many people here have a podcast? Pop it in the chat if you have a podcast. we're always um we're always looking for more content, right? I mean, if someone came to you and said, I can provide an hour of content for your audience if you'd like, would you be like, no way? Like, you'd be dancing all over the place if someone helped you with your content for the week. And that's the way that podcasters feel as well, as long as you approach them well and as long as you have something to offer their audience. If you have something to offer a podcaster's audience, and I mean, human design, it fits with just about anything. But if you have something that matches that podcaster's audience, it can be a really good strategy. Actually, I wrote down somebody's name here. I heard this guy at podcast, Dustin Reichman. I can put that in the Facebook group after. But his strategy is guesting on people's podcasts. That's how he's grown his whole business. There was someone in the room who guests on over 50 podcasts a year. So you may not want to start your own podcast. Maybe you do, but you may not want to start your own podcast. And it can be a really good strategy to go on other people's podcasts because it gets you visible and it starts to grow your own audience. You'll give them, you'll invite them to download the chart that's on your website or to a lead magnet that you create in Bodygraph chart, and then they'll get over into your world and onto your email list. So that's a huge thing that you can access for growing your audience and for getting visible. You can blog, you can guest on other people's blogs. Again, it's the whole content thing. Anyone here who is a graduate of Karen Curry Parker's programs, she has guest blog spots for her students on her site. So get in touch with them or look in her membership site and see about guesting on her blog. That's going to get you more people. And you may kind of think you don't necessarily want to be in that world because it's other human design students, but I get as much business from my membership there as I do anywhere else in my business. It's crazy. So consider doing a guest blog over there or anywhere else where you can actually add value to that person's audience. You could be an email guest or a sponsor of someone's email. There's someone in my world and he sponsors other people's emails. So he will give them a financial contribution towards whatever. And they put like a shout out to him and he writes a little blurb, not very long, just a couple of paragraphs about his business in their email. So you could do that. Um, Instagram lives. Now, if you're here and you're not wanting to be visible, how scary is an Instagram live? Scale of 1 to 10. How scary is an Instagram live for you? I know it's not my very favorite thing. 9. 1. Yay, Shelly. 1. 15. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. 1, because nobody's watching. I have such a hard time with that when people aren't on live. I have such a hard time with that. I think it's the generator type thing that it's just like, oh my God, give me eyeballs to talk to, please. I need something to be in response to. So thank you for your honesty there, you guys. Um, but yeah, an Instagram live, and if it really bothers you to do an Instagram live, think about doing it in your stories, and you don't even have to go live. You can pre-record little 1 minute videos and get them all ready with the captions and all that as you put them in your stories, and do, mini trainings or anything really in an Instagram live in your stories. I know you can go live as well, but this kind of takes the fear out of it, because if you mess up, you can go back and redo that video. Just don't get like crazy over the perfection piece, because people want to see you real, right? And none of us are perfect. None of us speak perfectly all the time. None of us, they want to see us in our dip. They want to see us with a little bit of realism. So that's a workaround for Instagram lives, is that you can just record little 60-second videos and just pop them one after the other into your story for like 5 minutes or something on a little mini training. Put the captions in so that people don't have to listen to it if they don't want to, and work yourself up to going live. But the other thing that you can do is that you can collaborate on Instagram lives with people. You can, um, you know, I'm just going to pick two people, Kelly and Andrea could decide to go live together. And then that feels a little safer. It doesn't feel quite as scary if you're worried about being visible to, for Kelly to go live on Andrea's page and talk about something. And then maybe next week, Andrea goes live on Kelly's page and talks about something. And it doesn't have to be people in the human design community. Like with human design, you have so much to offer, so many different businesses, so many different niches, that you can really craft your message to land wherever it needs to land. So IG lives. How else? You guys, you guys, I love collaborations are happening in the chat. You guys pop in the chat if there are other ways that you think that you could collaborate with people, any ideas you have. Another tactic that you can use is showing up in groups, but you got to be careful with this one. I mean, you can always tell when someone is in a Facebook group just to promote their business, right? You can always tell. You're in a group and there's someone who comments on every single post and they're the expert on every single thing. You don't want to be that person. I always say, and I don't know where I got this from, but you want to be raw, a real ass human, RAH. You want to be a real ass human. I never even asked if I could swear on these webinars, so hopefully that's okay. And you don't want to make it weird, right? Just don't make it weird, because we are all people. At the end of the day, we're all people. And if you show up with a heart of service in a Facebook group and someone is asking something, let's say the child again, someone is asking, they're saying that their child has a really, really hard time sleeping. As a human design expert, don't you just want to get in there and help that kid get to sleep? If someone is in a Facebook group and they're talking about how, they're struggling with their adrenal health, don't you just want to go in there with your human design hat on and help them? If they're struggling with, hyperactive behavior, don't you just want to help them? If they're struggling with burnout, so you can go in with a heart of service into these groups and you can actually just share from your heart, and people will come back to you. It gets you visible because you're in someone else's world, so it's getting you a little bit more visible. And people will love you. If you're loving on people, they will love you back and they will come and follow you. I don't think that you have to have, and I mean, someone may disagree with me, but I don't think that you have to have this crazy strategy for, I took an Instagram course in the summer, and she was like, you have to spend 20 minutes a day in Facebook groups, and you comment on this, and and it's like, no, you can just show up and serve. You can just show up and serve and trust that the universe will bring it back to you if you're actually providing value for someone. So I think the big thing is commit to showing up consistently. And you just have to know that you're always going to up your game with the visibility piece, because just as soon as you get comfortable with being visible in your world right now, something I hope is going to happen, and it's going to challenge you, and you're going to be like, oh gosh, I got to do it again. Oh my goodness. And I just want to give a nod to the nervous system, because I find that we kind of kick ourselves around a little bit. I hate the phrase self-sabotage. In my health background, I worked with perimenopausal and menopausal women, and they would always talk about how they were self-sabotaging, by eating a bag of chips, or by, sitting down and watching Netflix instead of going for a walk, or whatever it was. When you start to feel shut down, when you go to do something and get visible in your business and something happens, something stops you, and you do something else instead. Maybe you go fold the laundry, maybe you do something for your kids, maybe you, whatever it is that you do, you think you need to perfect the post a little more, whatever it is that you do, I would just love to invite you to give your nervous system a nod. Just, okay, thank you. Thank you. I understand that you're trying to keep me safe. I understand that it feels scary to be seen. And we're just going to do this in baby steps. We're just going to take a baby step and move a little bit closer towards the goal. Okay. You don't have to go from being where you're at now, not doing any live videos at all, not doing any stories at all, to showing up on YouTube every day of the week. Okay. That's not the goal here. It's just taking a little baby step to get a little bit more visible. Let people see you a little bit more, show up to help. When I'm coming into any kind of client facing work or any kind of work online, I did before this webinar, I just, and you don't have to do this, but energetically, whatever it is that you do, I just say a little prayer, just use me, show me, guide me. How may I serve? How may I serve? And when we show up with a heart of service, it's a lot easier to be visible if we're not thinking about the people that we're actually there to help. Hopefully that makes sense. And just know that every time you grow in your business, you're going to have that new level, new devil thing with visibility for sure, and probably some other things in your business. Okay. So I would love to know in the chat, Andrea says, amen. I would love to know in the chat what you are going to do after this webinar to, oh, I can't go back. What you're going to do after this webinar to get visible. One thing, just one thing that you're going to do to get visible. And I apologize if you're watching the replay. I'm going to go through now and answer, just look for questions. And I can only go back as far as the unjaded episodes. So I'm not getting very far back, and that's okay. If somebody else can go back and sees another question, just let me know. I'm just looking for the cues. That's all I'm looking for really quickly. I love how much you guys are talking in the chat. That's amazing. It's so much more fun to be in a webinar when you can talk to each other, isn't it? Okay, so Q, what do you mean telling them like it is? Well, I think, and I could be wrong, you're all human design experts here. This is my interpretation of it, but I think fifth lines stand beautifully in their power when they tell it like it is, and they don't worry about what someone's going to think of them or where the chips will fall. I love the fifth line profiles in my world who just say, look at, this is how it is. And they don't really give a crap anything else that comes of that. Oh, Kelly is saying, I haven't been telling it like it is. Okay, so that's your challenge, Kelly, to tell it like it is. Is boot camp only available within the Facebook group? Thank you for asking that. Shelly, so the boot camp, you will get emails every day as well. So what we've done is that it is in the Facebook group. That's where the interaction will be. So if you're on Facebook, you want to get into the Facebook group, and we'll be interacting in there every day. I will be in there every single day, all day long. We will also have tech support in there for you, so that the first 2 days are a little bit technical, in my opinion, but you saw how I do with tech. So we'll have tech support in there for you to help you out as you go along. And that's where we'll be kind of playing around together. But we do have emails going out every day with your particular challenge for the day as well. And you can always reply to that email and get someone from Bodygraph Chart to help you. Okay, so make sure you register for boot camp, because it's coming at us really quickly. It's coming at us in just a few days. Sunday we start. I'm just looking for more cues. Oh, look at you guys sharing your guests on podcasts. Look at, you're already getting visible. That's amazing. The frequency of collaboration is contagious, Andrea is saying. Yes, it really, really is. Oh, yes. Drop your IG handle so that we can connect about podcasts. There is a thread in the Facebook group as well. Use the Facebook group like a group. Find your besties in there. Find the people you can collaborate with in there. Okay. Oh, wow. Lots of people want a podcast. I love this. And I'm just going to read the what people are going to do, and then we will close out if there's no more questions. One thing I'm doing today is to be more visible is publishing my new YouTube video. Amazing. I love that. Question, isn't there a Q&A tab for us to ask questions without them getting lost in the chat feed? Probably there is. Probably there is. I never use Teams, Santos, and you saw how I did tonight with Teams. So we will figure that out for the next time for sure. Thank you. That's a great suggestion. Question: should we start over with new social pages even if we have a good 4K followers in another field? Kelly, I would ask you what the other field is. So if you're still here and you can pop in the chat, what is the other field? I think that for the most part, I'm going to wait to get your answer as well, but as long as you let people know what's about to happen, it's like, this is the train I'm on now, and this is where I'm going now, then that's important. I have switched niches a couple of times, and I have people who've been with me, loyal, raving fans who've been with me since my first business 30 years ago. And it makes no sense because not all of them are, they don't necessarily flow one into the other. Human design is like, yes, it fits with everything, right? But when I switched from holistic health, when I really like, first I added human design to holistic health. And then I was like, no, we're definitely doing just straight up human design. So I let people know that that's what I was doing. I invited them to jump off my email list if they no longer wanted to hear about that. And a lot of people did. My email list probably went down. It was at about 5,000 or 5,300, and it went down to about 2,500. So a lot of people did just opt out and didn't want to hear about it. And that's okay, because you want people that really are going to engage with you. You want people that really want to hear from you, right? It's no good to have 4,000 fans if they don't care what you're saying and they're not engaging in anything. Okay. So, okay, sorry. Now I lost see, I should have been listening earlier about the Q&A. Um it's copywriting. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So your old niche is copywriting and your new niche is human design. I do human design copywriting. Like, what it depends on what kind of copywriting you want to do, but you can completely bring human design into copywriting. Absolutely, if you want to. So that's the thing, is that you need to decide what you want. Do you want to have a copywriting audience and another one? Because you can have two pages if you want. Or do you want to bring people on the journey? Are your people, I'm asking a lot of questions and I don't know your type, I'm sorry, but are your people business people who will value understanding their human design and their copywriting? Are they other copywriters? Are they regular people? It just depends on that. 4,000 followers is a lot to walk away from, isn't it? Okay, Nicole is saying, I plan to start talking in my stories more consistently and putting myself out there as a podcast guest. Yes, stories is a growth. Okay, there's a. I'm going to invest in longer lasting content like a blog and Pinterest. Yes, 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 yes. Fitness and wellness, adding human design coaching. Fitness and wellness is so easy to add human design coaching into. So easy. When I was in my health practice, we did a ton of market research. And the number one thing that I dealt with women, the number one thing that women were struggling with was unfulfilled expectations. Tell me that human design can't fix unfulfilled expectations, right? Everyone is looking for their purpose. They want to, know what they're here for and what they're here to do, all of those things. So I think that Jessica, yours is beautiful. That's a beautiful kind of bridge that you can use human design, and it can be an add-on to your business, and you can see where it goes, right? I think that sometimes we think we have to have the answer today, but we're not always going to have the answer today. A lot of times you have to let it marinate. A lot of times you have to just kind of sit with your niche change and just allow the universe to kind of guide you along the way. And you know how to use your human design type to do that, right? I commit to doing more lives. I'm going to do reels and stories. I'll take the first baby step live. Um, okay. Okay. Helpful. Good. Good, good, good. And if you want to talk with me more about it, just send me a message on Messenger. I'm happy to chat about that, about your niche or any other conversation, or you can tag me in the Facebook group on something. So after this, a lot of you have made a commitment of what you're going to do to get visible. So go out there and do something. Do something today. I know it's late. It may be late where you are. So if it's too late today, make yourself a note for the first thing. And then in the morning, first thing when you get up, eat the frog. Eat the frog means do the thing that you don't want to do right away and get it over with so that you can go on. You don't have to stress over it throughout your day. You can just be like, yes, all day long. You can feel like a badass because you got that thing out of the way and you got visible in your business. Okay. So I will see you in the Facebook group, and I will see you at boot camp. Thanks for being here.